the enterprises working in Cambodia, if they are fulfilling certain criteria that has been defined by the ACAR, then they have to get their books of accounts audited by the external auditor. So I think that there are more than 20 different non-compliances which ACAR has mentioned. So let's say the penalty starts with minimum $200 and the maximum penalties goes up to $5,000.
What are the key annual compliance requirements for the Accounting and Auditing Regulator that businesses should be aware of?
Right, so this is a kind of new, though it is not now very new regulations, but the regulations for the audit came in 2020, and then unaudited financial statement submission regulations came in 2021. So yeah, it is still fairly new. In this, let me categorize into two parts. One is about the submission of the audit report. So the enterprises working in Cambodia, if they are fulfilling certain criteria that has been defined by the ACAR, then they have to get their books of accounts audited by the external auditor, which is approved by ACAR, licensed by ACAR. The criteria are broadly very simple. If the company have the turnover more than $1 million, if they have a total asset more than $750,000, or if they have employees more than 100. So out of three, if any two criteria are met, then those companies are compulsorily required to get their books of accounts audited. Apart from that, companies having a QIP status are also required to get their books of accounts audited, as well as the organizations also, or NGOs, having expenditures more than $500,000 and employees more than 20, they also need to get their books of accounts audited. So that's the most important part. And those enterprises or organizations who are not falling into any of this criteria of audit, then they are all required to submit the unaudited financial statement. Now, coming to the deadline, then for unaudited financial statement submission to ACAR, the deadline for submission, the deadline is 20 April 2026. But when they should finalize the financial statement, that is by 31st of March. So in case of audit, submission of audited financial statement, the deadline is 20th of July 2026. Okay, but by when they should finalize their, by when they should have the audited financial statement, that is 30th of June 2026. So basically 6 months after completion of the financial year.
And filing for ACAR, I'm sure it's a different process than filing for the GDT, for example.
Right.
So can you give us a little bit of a breakdown on how companies can actually submit their financial statements?
For ACAR, the first important part is to register the enterprise with them and to obtain the FIN number, or we call it financial identification number. So every organization working in Cambodia, so either they are falling in unaudited financial statement submission or audit report submission. Any of the organization, they first have to log in, they have to create the financial identification number. With that number only, they can later submit their unaudited report or audited financial statement. So that's the first part. And now all the report submission is through online only, right? So yeah, first step is to get the FIN number, and then second, to have their financial statement audited if it's about audit report submission, or submit the unaudited financial statement. Now, I would like to add one more part, that for unaudited financial statement submission, the ACAR has also prescribed a specific format. So in that format only, that report should be submitted, and both the report, audited as well as unaudited, must be in a Khmer language and must be in a Khmer real.
And what are the general penalties involved in failing to submit financial statements on time?
Yeah, penalties. ACAR has issued a subdegree 79 in 2020, wherein they have described detailed different types of non-compliances and the penalties against it. So let's say the penalty starts with minimum $200 and the maximum penalties goes up to $5,000. So there are several penalties, including non-compliance of accounting standard, second, non-submission of the financial statement, or late submission of the financial statement, not getting their books of accounts audited, or late submission of the audited financial statement, as well as there are also penalties for, let's say, using the currency other than Khmer in the financial statement, using the language other than Khmer for preparation of the financial statement. So I think that there are more than 20 different non-compliances which ACAR has mentioned in that subdegree 79 for different non-compliances and the penalties against it. So I must say that penalties for ACAR is also severe. And there is also a way out. I would like to add there that is important, that let's say if any organization is feeling that within the deadline, they will not be able to submit the unaudited report or audited financial statement, then before the deadline, they must request for extension for submission of the audited financial statement or unaudited financial statement, so that the ACAR will check your request and if the request is on a reasonable ground, then they will give you the extension whatever you have requested, and that will help you to avoid any penalty payment.